Hickok 45, welcome to the compound. We're going to compare a couple of firearms. They're not pistols, they're not shotguns. You're probably familiar with them already. The Mossberg Shockwave and the Remington Tac 14. All right, very similar in many ways. They're both 14-inch firearms. We're going to shoot them both, talk about them, and we're going to tell you which one you ought to buy, because we're very adamant about that, and we know what's best for you. Just kidding. Let's shoot them. Put my ears on. I got rounds in the magazine, and now I've got rounds in the chamber. Of course, everybody knows without a pistol or without a shoulder stock and a longer barrel, you can't really hit anything. Let's try though. Whoa, Mr. Pumpkin, another pot. Oh, I'm out of ammo. Oh well, 5 isn't bad. Let's try some more. We've got a Remington here. A cowboy. Oh, a pot. Oh, we're out of ammo. Okay. Not bad. Now, for those of you who are watching closely, you notice one difference, I hope. All right. But first, let's look at the similarities. All right. These came out roughly around the same time. You know, the Mossberg was first out, I guess, and then the Remington. But they both have the same grip, the Raptor grip. I'll talk more about that. They both have a 14-inch barrel. I believe they're exactly 14-inch or a hair over on it. And I think they're both cylinder bore. All right. They're both 12 gauge. And what else? They're both about the same price. They run around $400, probably out the door, or you know, I give MSRP $430, $440, $450. You know, probably get them for a little over $400. Just depends in your area. They're about the same weight. Now, if you look at the numbers, I think the Remington is maybe a half a pound more, or almost half. But not enough to matter. Nothing you notice picking them up. You just really don't. Okay. So, and especially loaded, because there's another difference you probably noticed for those of you who can count. All right. The Mossberg holds 5 rounds in the magazine. Remington holds 4. So, you know, you get another round in the Mossberg, and even though the firearm's a little lighter than the, you know, then it kind of equals out anyway. There's not enough difference to tell. So I'm going to say they're about the same weight, same price. So they're very similar in most ways, really. There's just a few differences. You've got a different forearm, fore-end on, of course, the Mossberg. Got the corn cob style there, and you got the strap, you know, there. And I put some ugly tape on mine just because it had some really rough edges there where it was fastened and the screws and everything. But I left the strap on, so it feels fine to me. I mean, if you don't want to use the strap, you kind of grab it all, I guess. But not a problem for me. John took his off. He probably is living dangerously. And the Remington, you know, you've got the M-lock mag pull on there. All right, that's a big difference. Okay. Now this is still, this Remington is still the one we got from Bud's. And probably by the time you're seeing this, one of you has this shotgun. You've probably already bought it off the eGunner auction. Probably 100% chance of that, right? So how do you like it? This same gun. And so again, we appreciate budsgunshop.com helping us out in that regard, because that's why we're able to compare these. We get a lot of firearms from them, so it was really nice to get that. Check out their website. And also don't forget to go to the description, join the NRA if you're not a member. Please, if you're interested in firearms, you need to support gun rights, okay? The NRA, the biggest, most powerful, not perfect, but they're the most powerful, so you ought to be a member. And then branch out and join your state organization, or maybe your state organization first, whatever, but join the NRA too, then whatever else you can afford. That's what I do. I belong to about 7, I believe, okay? And I want to try to keep all those memberships up. So anyway, do what you can afford to do. Now the tape on the grips, this is hockey stick tape. It doesn't, hockey stick tape. It doesn't come on them, but I put it on mine. And you know, whatever I do is of course something that's smart and brilliant to do. So I decided that whoever owns this gun, buys this gun on eGunner, should have it on theirs. right? I am arrogant in that regard. No, actually I'm not. I mean, I was thinking I'd just take it off. I guess I will. It could be that you like hockey stick tape on yours and would want it on there, but I guess I should probably take it off before I send it back to Bud's. It's just a matter of peeling it off. But the reason I did that was I normally don't do much to a firearm that I'm sending back. You know, it's going to somebody else. I don't want to mess it up, paint the sights, and do the things that I would do if it were mine. You know, you've heard me talk about that before. But on this time, I wanted to compare them apples to apples as much as possible. And it really feels better to me to have some tape on there, have something. I think Talon Grips makes a grip. I think they might have sent me one after I got this on mine, come to think of it. But you want something on there, okay? And it feels so dramatically different. Now here's John's. Now when I pick it up, it's just dramatically different. I'd be bad-mouthing the Remington is what I was afraid of. I would say, well, this Mossberg just feels so much better than this Remington, and it would mainly be because the grip is so slippery for me. All right, so they feel the same. And that's one thing I want to talk about, and I shot them both there to begin with. John and I have shot them both. We loaded them up. We have picked one up, fired it, picked the other one up, fired it immediately. We did it just before the video. Neither one of us can really tell any difference. Okay, now if we did it 10 times, I don't know, maybe there's just not enough difference to write home about. They feel the same, okay, especially if you've got the same grip tape and everything. Now you got a little different feel there with the fore-end. Okay, like I said, the differences are going to be the fore-end, that's the, you know, the M-lock, you know, that you got on that. And I'm not sure, I think I prefer the Mossberg, tell you the truth. I'm not going to definitely be hanging anything on a pump, I don't think, like that. You know, I do well to get my hand on there. But yeah, it's okay though. Yeah, it's all right. I prefer this, I think, but there's no big problem with that. And of course the steel receiver, a lot of the differences beyond what I've talked about are just the differences that you have on a Remington versus a Mossberg. And I've got full size 870 here, and I've got my Mossberg 590 A1 there. You know, same guns. You know, where am I here? I'm getting lost. Yeah, here we go. The 590 and then the Shockwave, they're basically the same shotgun, right? And then the same with the Remington, you know, and the 870, just a cut down version of it, different grip. Okay. So you have the same differences, you know. If you like a Remington because of where the safety is. Now this is that dressed up one by Wilson Combat. You know, it's got these great sights on it and all that I truly love. But still, generally, you got the same operation of an 870. Okay, your location of your safety, crossbolt safety, and the feel of it, and the slide release up there, you know, versus on the Mossberg where it's kind of back here. And then you got your ambidextrous safety on your Mossberg. So it kind of depends on where you come down on some of those differences as to which of these you would prefer. Okay, if you just absolutely love a steel receiver, then you know you probably are going to like the Remington, or you like the feel of the fore-end better on one of them versus the other one. Here's a Remington with a steel receiver. I mean, they look alike. They're easy to confuse. You really have to almost look at the fore-end to keep track of which one you're talking about. So there's not a lot of difference. I'll tell you, there's not a lot to fret over. If you're trying to decide which of these to buy, you're definitely going to buy one of them. You know, you can't go too terribly wrong either way. Now again, with Remington, you know, these days in the Freedom Group, you might want to take that into consideration. I don't know. This thing has seemed to be fine. We fired it quite a bit, and you know, seems to operate just fine. So, but that is an issue that bothers a lot of people, the quality control at Remington in recent years. So, you know, if you're a Remington person, you're probably going to prefer this one. And if you like Mossbergs, you might prefer this one. I have no trouble with the alloy receivers, as I've said, on a Mossberg or a Benelli. You know, they work just fine. I don't know anybody who has broken the receiver on their Mossberg. You know, I just don't. And I'm perfectly happy with that. So, but again, there's just not a lot of difference in that. Let's see. We're not going to shoot a lot. Now, one of the differences, yeah, I think I covered all the similarities pretty much. You know, they both require no paperwork. They're not NFA items. You all know that by now. They're not considered a pistol or a shotgun. They are a firearm, all that. But now the Mossberg, you can put an adapter on it and shoot the mini shells. That's why I got a few of these out here. And so I stuck that in John's just to show you. I don't know if you see, it has a little piece of rubber. I see, for who guys? It's a guy out of Texas, OPSO or something. I just Googled it and found that, and I ordered a couple of those. And I have tried them on mine. They seem to work fine, these adapters. And now you watch, it won't work now, but you can shoot these mini shells in the Mossberg. And these are 7.5, so I don't have any double-aught buck in that or anything. So, what are we going to shoot? 2 liter. 10. Boom. All right, another 2. Another one. Fun. Fun, fun, fun. Let's shoot that target. Wow, it just keeps shooting. I'll bet it's because I've got those little mini shells in it. So now if that's something that appeals to you, and that is pretty cool, I have to admit. Now, some, I think the KSG will actually function those, as I've read. But I'm not a huge fan of the KSG, but I am of these, the Mossberg. So that's pretty cool. That is one point in favor of the Mossberg, and that's just a little rubber piece you just stick right in there, and it comes in and out pretty easily. Okay, so if you want to shoot mini shells, and let's see, what did I learned? This holds, the Mossberg holds 5 rounds of 2 3/4 shells, and it holds 8 of the mini shells in the magazine. So it's not like you get 15 in there or anything, but it was just holding 8. So, but that's nice. That's like a full-length shotgun basically. You get 8 of those. And there's now I'm not an expert on these mini shells. I don't think Federal makes those, I think, but they're available, I believe, in double-aught buck and slugs, because I've got some slugs and birdshot I found. It's hard to find. So, you know, that might be something. It's not like you're firing, you know, 22s. Those things have a little punch. You know, they really do. And I'm not, again, that familiar with them. There's probably some that would be adequate for defensive use. So, you know, if you've got something this size with 8 rounds or 8+1, 12 gauge, that ain't all bad, is it? And it doesn't recoil much. Not like a, I don't know, maybe a little more than a 410, but kind of in that neighborhood. Yeah, you could do worse, couldn't you? So that's a plus in favor of the Mossberg, I'd say right now. It could be that this same company is working on that adapter for, or something like that, you know, for the Remington. I don't know. You'll have to keep track of that. See? So what was I going to do? We'll shoot double-aught in both of them, okay? And then we'll, I guess there's no reason to fire them a lot. I just wanted to give you some idea, at least what our thinking is on them. I think John and I both probably prefer the Mossberg, but there's still not a lot of difference between the two. Now this is the Remington, so it holds 4. All right, and let's open another box and put 5 would be good. Put 5 in the Mossberg. The mini shells is a pretty neat capability. In this particular gun, John and I pretty much agree that the fact that it holds 5 is a big difference maker, okay? Because that's one thing you're doing when you cut this thing down to this size, is you're limiting your capacity. But with the Mossberg, you know, it's just 5, and with this it's 4. That's, when you get down to that area, that's kind of a big difference. You know, what is that, 20%, something like that? So, you know, that's a plus. I've got 5+1. There's a lot of full-length shotguns that don't hold more than that. You know, they don't have a true full-length magazine or whatever. So, all right, now this is, what did I just put in there? I meant to put in some, yeah, a double-aught buck. Okay, that was all double-aught buck. So this will kick a little more, but that's okay. Remington. Oh yeah, that's pretty stout. Oops, shot high. Nice. Another cowboy down there. Oh, that put the hurt on him. Quick. Now that's for some pretty hot stuff. It was, I guess, high brass, but it doesn't hurt you. You get a good grip on that. That's all right. You can stand it. I have confidence in you. Here's some more of it. Tombstone. Wow, look at that. Ouch, ouch, that would hurt. Whew, wouldn't want to be on the other end of that. Look at that, dead center of that plate. All right, I'll shoot the red one. Got some on him. Let's shoot that big thing there. Oops, we're empty. The reason I brag on myself there a little bit is that's again, another point. I've made this before. Some people make fun of these. They're just toys. They're junk. They're not worth anything. Hey, I wouldn't say that, because you can pick that thing up, and we're talking 18, 20 yards out there, and of course closer, it's even less of an issue. So they point very well. I would have no problem relying on one of these in a self-defense situation. Okay, and you could even be, I guess you could argue that it might hurt your wrist a little bit, but if you were trying to manage something, a door, a flashlight or something, you could fire that thing one hand if you had to, and hold somebody up, whatever. I don't know, you can do that with a shoulder gun too, but it's just not as worthless as some people like to make them out to be. As I think I mentioned in the first video of this, I think some of that has gone away. People have kind of learned and have been shooting these, and enough people that have a pretty good reputation in the firearms community have, I think pointed out that there is some value in these, that some of that has fallen by the wayside. They're not total junk. Okay, that's my point. I mean, they're not the end all, the be all of everything, panacea, but they're kind of neat. They're not that expensive really in the great scheme of things, and they work, and you got two of the major companies making them, and so it's kind of a why not if you want one. There's another company I've seen mentioned a lot. Is it Asylum Weaponry, the Gatekeeper? I don't have one. I actually wrote to them one. If they want to send us one, it would be in this video, but I didn't hear back from them. It just, we're not, like I say, if there's 5 of them out there, we're happy to show them all. But I expect there'll be more and more of them, and because they're pretty cool, considering you don't need special paperwork. So I don't want to take all day. You've got things to do. And is there anything I forgot to mention? Lots of similarities, but then those few differences I talked about. And there's probably something I didn't mention, but one of you will do the cleanup work for me. And they both shoot fine. And I kind of like them. They're kind of fun. Let me shoot this one more time, okay? I mean, they're actually kind of fun. Like I say, if you come down on the side of Remington, you probably like the Remington better. If you like Mossberg, you probably like it better. One thing about the Mossberg I do like is that position of the safety. You know what I did there. Okay. Didn't have a slide all the way forward, I think. Yeah, okay, there's 5. Plus 1. I think I put one in the chamber, didn't I? Let's find out. Yeah, I sure did. Cowboy. Tombstone. Cowboy. Other cowboy. Red square. Bowling pin. Click. We're empty. So they're not hard to hit with. They're very user-friendly. Instinct shooting is just not a problem at all. So both of them I think are kind of fun, and you would probably enjoy it if you like shotguns. All right, so that's one thing. And then as far as the difference between the two, there's not a great deal. I kind of come down on the side of the Mossberg, I guess, personally, and I think John does too. But again, there's not that much difference. So pick out the one you like if you think you got to have one of these, and enjoy it. Life is good.
Oh man, you guys watched that whole video? Well, not one to judge, but while you're here, I wanted to let you guys know about our friends over at SDI, the Sonoran Desert Institute. They're a fully accredited online distance learning program. They offer hands-on experience. They also accept GI Bill. You can get certified in gunsmithing or get an associate's degree in firearms technology. So check them out when you get a chance over at sdi.edu. Also, some of the new targets you may have noticed on our range are from shootsomesteel.com, so maybe give their website a look. And also the Vaultec safe that you might have seen on our shooting table, you can check those out at vaultecsafe.com. Also, don't forget to check out our website, hickok45.com. You can find all of our links to the different social media sites that you can find us on, like full30.com, The Real Hickok 45 on Twitter, on Instagram, Hickok 45 on Twitter, Hickok 45 on Facebook. There's also the Hickok 45 and Son YouTube channel. So just go to the website and you'll find most of that stuff, and our t-shirts, of course. You can find all of our merchandise for sale there on hickok45.com. And man, I guess you guys are gonna have to find something else to watch on YouTube, because that's it. That's all I have to say. Appreciate it.